Welcome to F101 with Friends, your pit stop for all things Formula One. Whether you're here for the stats, the memes, or just figuring out what a chicane is, we've got you covered. Buckle up, because the fun starts right now. Hi everyone, my name is Nisha, a newbie F1 girlie who is desperate to make more friends so that I can talk about this sport all the time. Each week, a new guest will join me on this journey, from seasoned F1 fans to other curious newcomers, and we will explore what it is about this million-dollar sport at gravity-defying speeds that we just can't stop watching. We'll try to break it all down in a way that's fun, relatable, and hopefully try to explain some of the tech talk. I hope you enjoyed the break. I know I did. It was much needed. But we are back, and this time we're headed to the first race in the US, sunny Miami. And with me is former Mercedes, now Ferrari, but always a Lewis Hamilton fan, Lauren. Welcome to the show, Lauren.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here discussing F1 with you.
Yeah, and we do this all the time in our place of work. So I'm excited to do it in the podcast space. But so that our listeners can get to know you a little bit better, what got you into F1?
Okay, so I actually got into F1 when I was younger, watching it with my uncle. He's a very passionate F1 fan. And I've kind of known F1 before what it is today, all the hype around it. So that's a flex for me. But one of my earliest memories is watching Lewis, and there was just something magnetic about him, whether it's his presence, the way he carries himself, his driving style, his fashion sense, something about him just pulled me, and ever since I've been hooked onto the sport. And as I started to understand the sport better, both from a technical standpoint to the team dynamics or the strategies, I think all of it got me completely hooked onto the sport. And then beyond racing, I'm quite fascinated by the world, or that ethos that surrounds F1.
Yeah.
The luxury aspect, the brand partnerships, the global stage it operates on. And I'm a huge tennis fan also. So it's another sport that's steeped into the traditions and luxury and all of that. So I think it was a natural overlap that drew me deeper into the sport. And now, of course, you have the social media presence of all the drivers and their teams and all the pop culture that surrounds F1. I think all of it keeps me hooked and interested. And all of these radios that you get to hear and all of that.
Yes. Nice. So if you were at a dinner party with all of your favorite F1 drivers, what would you like to say to them?
I'm hoping I would be at a dinner party with all the F1 drivers, at least current ones. I mean, I would love to have Sebastian Vettel and Michael Schumacher and Senna and all of the greats over there. But I would just honestly like to start by saying, thank you for making my Saturdays and Sundays something worth looking forward to. And then I'd probably shift gears, pun intended,
Well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
And ask them, what do they think about when they're not racing? What inspires them? We are so used to seeing them as these hyper focused athletes, and honestly I would like to just get to know them outside of F1, what kind of books they read, what are the foods they like to eat, and who are the people that inspire them, and what music do they like to play when they are alone versus when they are with people. And of course, I mean, if Lewis is there, then I'd 100% want to say something about, have a conversation about, how he's taken F1 to, this whole different platform. He's done something what I don't think any other driver has done.
True.
Even if it's I'm sure, he's one of the greatest to ever do it. And there are also other very great drivers, but none of them have managed to do what he's done. Like, take it to like
True.
this global stage, make everybody care about Formula One, even if they don't watch it. Everybody knows what Formula One is and who Lewis
Yes.
Hamilton is. Yeah, and yeah, like he's gonna have like a very busy Monday in May because he's hosting the Met Gala and all of that.
I know. I'm
Yeah,
so excited to see his looks.
same, especially because I remember putting this on my Instagram story when that was the last race, his
The
last
last
race
Met.
with Mercedes, and he did the whole
Oh, yes.
transition, and I put
The
that
outfits.
image, yeah, of him in the gray,
Uh huh.
white and red, and then full red look. I
Yes.
remember putting it on my story and just putting this one thing that fashion is storytelling, and nobody does it
Mm.
better than Lewis Hamilton in Formula One. Like, and
I
that's something I
totally
would love
agree.
to talk to him about. Like, what's his thought process when doing all these things? Because it's so nice to see it, and I'd love to know the stories behind it as well.
Yeah, that's true. There is a lot of thought behind his
For
looks. I
sure,
really
for
like
sure.
that.
I don't
Yeah.
think it's just like, I woke up one day and decided to
Yeah, yeah,
wear
yeah.
this, like this designer.
Or
So yeah, is sponsoring me, so I'm
yeah,
gonna wear it.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's not even like that. It's
Yeah.
not even like, oh, okay, this designer, I'm just gonna wear whatever they put
Yeah.
out. No, there is something to it.
Exactly. Like even when he's like protesting against the FIA and all of that with the
Oh, yeah.
multiple watches, I
Yep.
think there's always some kind of thought that goes behind into what his actions are.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true. I love that. I love your questions, and I'm sure it'll be such a nice, like, I think for once it'll be a pleasant conversation with the drivers where they don't have to talk about racing.
Yeah.
The only person who might feel like they don't want to
Max.
do this is Max.
Yeah, for
He'll
sure.
probably be like, can we talk about some other kind of racing? I'm
Yeah.
okay with that.
But to be fair, I mean, I've heard him speak lately about how he would like to spend more time with his family and all of that.
That's because one baby is coming,
Yeah,
no?
yeah.
That's why he's like,
And
I
I'm
want to be
sure he's
home.
saying that because right now, like, maybe he knows his chances are a little lower. I mean, not taking, you can never ever discount or max him
Yep.
or cross him off the list. He's always there. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure, like, I try to at least get 1 2 sentences out of him. And then after that, if he doesn't want to talk, that's okay.
Actually, I think the best way to get him to talk is to ask him about his cats.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure he
Exactly.
will
Yeah.
spend hours talking about his cats.
Exactly. Yeah. Love to do that. Yeah.
But yes. So before we get into Miami, I just wanted to quickly talk about Jeddah because that was the last race that we all saw.
Yes.
So what were your highlights, lowlights? What did you like best?
Okay. Highlights, I think two, three, I think, very obvious ones. The first one being Oscar Piastri wins the Grand Prix.
Yes.
Love to see it. Love, love, love to see it. I think highlight number two would be Lewis just toying around with Lando Norris, and Lando Norris absolutely not
Oh
like
my god.
understanding what
That
the hell is
was
happening with him. I don't even like, I fully believe that if his engineer didn't tell him, you need to play the game, I don't think he would
yeah,
realize what's happening. And
I know.
so, since Lewis, I'm on the topic of Lewis, I think Ferrari getting their podium with Charles, that
Yes.
yeah, so Ferrari was my number two highlight. And number three was actually back to Oscar Piastri. I think we're so used to seeing Max Verstappen being the guy to push people to their limits, and like, this
Yep.
this race showed Oscar Piastri being like pulling a max on Max, and like,
Exactly.
showing him like this is what it feels like. And
Yep.
so that was one thing I absolutely loved seeing, because I think Oscar, like, while he's a very calm driver and is like in his mindset, I think he's very aggressive on track, like in the right
He is.
ways. Okay, like he
Yep.
didn't create, like there was no crash or anything. And that overtake on Lewis, my god, like I'm a big Lewis fan, but
Oof.
props to Oscar Piastri. Like I
Yes.
love to watch a good race, and watching him
I
pull that
agree.
move, wow. Yeah.
That was so risky. Like I saw the replays of it later on. he was so close to the wall and at such high speeds.
Yeah.
That was
And all
insane.
the
I think,
dust around him when he's doing that
yes.
overtake, yikes. I was
My
like,
God.
I hope both of them are safe because they're both drivers I like. I don't want to see either of them out of this race. Yeah.
True. I was listening to this other podcast and they were talking about how Max, when he would pull out that move, right, where he was basically the driver on the inside and he would push whoever is on the outside to the absolute limit.
Exactly.
And like that was his aggressive move and everyone complained about it. So it became a thing where if you saw Max starting to pull that move, you would just not engage. You would just let him have it. Because another car is thinking, I don't want to lose this race. I don't want to like DNF because of this idiot.
Yeah.
Right?
Especially at the beginning.
Yeah. But now with the fresh crop of people coming in, like with Oscar, or Isaac, or, whoever, Ollie Behrman, all these new people who have never been, at that place with Max on track, but have seen him pull that move, have basically learnt it from him.
Yeah.
And are now doing it back to him.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was... It, actually, Jeddah, honestly, it was like a solid 7 on 10 race for me.
Yeah.
But like, it was super exciting in like so many parts.
Yeah. And another thing, like in terms of lowlights, but I mean, it wasn't necessarily sad for me. I kind of expected it. But, everyone was talking about how Lando Norris has done like this phenomenal race because he went P10 to P4, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah.
But honestly, I found it quite uninteresting. Like I felt, or not uninteresting wouldn't be the right word, but I felt like he should have been doing better. Because,
Yeah.
like, let me just tell you what I'm thinking, why I'm saying these things. So, if you think about it, in lap one, he doesn't gain, like, he gains the 2 places, but not because of, anything. It's just pure luck because the 2 drivers
Yeah.
in front of him crashed. So, again, he's not gaining 6 places. Realistically, he's gained 4 places. Okay.
Right.
And when you are in a fastest car, had Max been in that car, or Lewis been in that car, from a P10, they wouldn't just be bringing it to a P4. It would be a guaranteed podium for them. I feel like maybe a Max would even go on to win the race, and a Lewis in his prime time would have probably also done the same, okay? And, I feel like when you want to be a world champion, you can't be, getting tricked by Lewis Hamilton twice, over the same
that was
thing.
really
It just
sad.
shows, that he lacks a lot of, not a lot of, in these certain places, it shows that he needs more talent that Oscar Piastri definitely has. So, I feel like,
Yeah. I think so. 2 things. One is I don't think it's a talent issue. I think it's a mindset issue.
probably,
Like he
yeah.
got into that weekend saying, I don't know how to drive an F1 car, right? Like I'm so stupid. I'm a muppet, whatever it is,
Okay,
right?
yeah.
It's all that negative self-talk. And I'm not saying, no, you have to pretend like you're the strongest person ever. You have to, that's not the point I'm making. The point is that why do you keep reinforcing this thing about yourself? You can always say, okay, I made a mistake, but I'm going to do better in my next session, which is what Piastri does. Like every time he makes a mistake or if he's critical about him or, a certain move, which is fine, be critical, but then say you're going to fix it, that you're going to be better. That's missing from Lando. And I feel like it's putting him in a funk. So it's almost like he's in a place where he's like, oh, this is where I made the mistake last time. If fine, whatever, it's just me. I have no talent. I'm going to make the same mistake. Why are you doing that?
Yeah.
Which is, honestly, between Oscar and Lando is far more talented.
Oh.
Like, if you think about it, right?
Okay.
Oscar is just consistent, level-headed, and he works hard. Because the same move that he pulled out on lap 1 is what was pulled on him in Abu Dhabi 2024. Right?
Okay.
Same, Max and Oscar.
Okay.
Right? Max was, and then he said that, oh, move of a world champion. That's what he said.
Yeah.
But he learned from that. He knew Max is going to do that. And then he did the same thing to him.
Yeah.
And he won out of that. So he's able to grow out of those things.
Yeah.
Lando just seems to be holding himself back,
Yeah.
which I feel sad for, honestly. He could win. And the second point was on saying that McLaren's the fastest car. I don't know that. I think McLaren is the fastest car in clean air.
Yeah, for
The moment
sure.
the air gets
Yeah.
dirty, and this year, because of the development of the car, because of how close everyone is struggling with dirty air.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think because Oscar, when he was in front and Stroll was in front of him, essentially like the lapped cars,
He
like he was
went
at the back,
slower.
he was struggling. He was slow. Like he
Yeah.
was screaming on the radio, telling that was the first time I saw Oscar spike up, where he was like, "Please, someone tell Stroll to get out of the way. I am
Yeah.
stuck in his dirty air."
I also feel like Oscar has like a slight hatred towards
Me
Stroll.
too.
Yeah, with all like the comments he makes on Stroll, I'm just
Yeah.
like, I think maybe this just gives me a tad bit feeling that he doesn't like Stroll, but I don't know, like whatever.
Could be,
Yeah.
could be. Maybe he feels like he doesn't deserve to be. I mean, let's not delve into
Yeah.
what Oscar Piastri might think.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is true that car is struggling in dirty air.
Yeah.
And like the faster the car is, it is becoming more difficult for both of them to drive.
For
Like
sure.
you can see both of them struggle to like
Yeah.
get those speeds that they need to get at. Like Max, for example, you give him anything and he
Yeah.
will drive the hell out
Yeah,
of it.
yeah, yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
So
but that's
it
just talent on another level.
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
you're right in all these ways that you know I mean I didn't think of it that way, but now that you've mentioned it could be like it possibly is true, like that
Yeah.
it's not the fastest car, but maybe just fast when it's in clean air.
Yeah.
But to your point on mindset, I fully agree. And I mean, I'm taking a slight like
Deviation.
deviation, yeah.
Okay.
But if I mean, it's a tennis reference, okay? So
Okay.
most of the important matches. So, like your Grand Slams, all four Grand Slams that happen across the year happen over 5 sets. Okay, I'm sure you know like all the greats, Roger Federer,
Yeah.
Rafa
yeah.
Nadal, Djokovic. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
all of them have been in multiple times where they have lost the first 2 sets of the 5 sets. So when you play
Yeah.
5 sets, it's always best of 5, right? So when
Right.
they lose the first 2 sets, and that means their opponent, who's a younger guy, because now these guys are in like their later stages of their career,
Right.
right? Even then they're winning. But the younger guy who just needs to win one more set never has not managed, like in like if you look at the stats, they have won like Federer, Nadal, or Djokovic, all have won so many Grand Slams because of one thing that differentiates them from the rest, and that's their mindset. What they
Yep.
do, and I don't know who's the player that said it, but they say Nadal first destroys your legs and then he'll completely destroy your confidence. Something like that. It was about. It was related to mindset. Literally, it's because they cannot.
A lot of
Yeah.
mental strength, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think like Lando needs to fix that if he wants to be
Yeah.
a world driver championship, because Oscar seems to have it
Yep.
right there,
He
like
does.
and
He does.
if he just needs to fix these other few things, I'm sure he can do it, and then like he will win. Like we've had 5 races, and Oscar's already won 3 of them. Yeah,
Apparently, he's on the same level as Lando now in terms of number of wins. I think they
yeah,
each have 5 wins each.
and he's had 50 races, Oscar Piastri.
Yep.
Yeah, when they're in fast cars, yeah, they both have the same number of wins.
Yeah,
Even though one
exactly.
is a little bit more experienced than the other. But, my opinion.
Yes, fair enough. But it is impressive how quickly Oscar has managed to catch up. Honestly, let's give him props for that. Right?
Yeah.
That is. It's quite beautiful to watch him rise up so quickly.
Yeah.
And just imagine, it was a split-second decision that he had made to join McLaren because he was an Alpine reserve
Yeah.
driver. Imagine his life if he hadn't chosen that. Just struggling with Pierre Gasly. with Flavio Briatore in his
Yeah.
team. Oh my God.
Good job, Mark Webber. Good job.
Yes, exactly. Props to Mark Webber. Also, fun stat is that this is the first time that we have a Australian driver leading the World Championship battle, and the last time it happened was in 2010, and that driver was Mark Webber.
His manager.
Yes. So, Miami International Autodrome is a temporary circuit, but one that's designed to have a permanent feel. It's set in the Hard Rock Stadium complex in Miami Gardens, which is home to the NFL famous Miami Dolphins franchise. You will see a lot of teams bring out special liveries here, merch, and a lot of that Super Bowl razzle dazzle. In fact, I think Ferrari is coming out with a new livery, not livery, sorry, new suit, race suit.
Oh,
They were the ones who had the blue one
yeah, for
last.
Miami. Yeah.
Yes. So, some quick facts about this race. The first race was held in 2022. Drivers will do 57 laps around this 5.412 kilometer circuit with 19 corners. The current lap record is a 1.29708, which is held by Max Verstappen in 2023 when he was in that insane car that won every race. The organizers have also created a marina with fake water and parked yachts. It's created on a platform near the track. It was instantly memed and mocked, but now it's kind of become legendary. It's total Miami energy, extra flashy and unbothered. Last year they had the F1 Academy there, and this year they had Formula E. And we have a sprint this weekend, so there's a lot to look out for. So, Lauren, if you look at the circuit, what do you think? Like, how would you describe it? Like, what everyday object would you use to describe it?
It doesn't really look like anything to me.
That's what I also thought. However, what if you flip the track over?
Some kind of animal with its mouth open.
If you had to picture the Miami track from above, to me, it kind of looks like the head of an alligator. Just stay with me here. It's like the long, narrow snout stretches out across turns 9 to 6. It's angled and sharp, like it's hunting its prey. The track then widens into this wild, jagged open jaw with turns 5 through 1 forming the top jaw, and then turns 17 to 19 curving up like the bottom jaw. See, I'm describing it in reverse. Make sure that you pull up a picture and take a look at what it is. It really looks like an alligator that's about to snap shut, and the Hard Rock Stadium sits in the middle. Like that's the snack that it's about to eat.
I think I see it. That's a great way of describing it. So the start of the finish straight
Yeah.
is right at the base of the bottom jaw, just before turn 19. So when the
Yes.
lights go out, the cars are blasting forward straight into the croc's open mouth. Scary. They turn on the top snout, drive over its bumpy head, and connect back from the bottom jaw right back to its mouth.
Yes, exactly.
It's fast, technical, and unpredictable. Exactly what you'd expect from a city like Miami.
It's perfect, right? And Miami is known for alligators all over the place, so it just makes sense that the track also looks like it. So
Yeah.
let's do this sector by sector. Let's break the track down. Sector 1 is the alligator's top jaw, which is from turns 1 to 8. We kick things off at the start finish straight, right inside the alligator's jaw, as Lauren described it. So as the lights go out, the 20 cars will have a very short 170-meter dash to turn 1. There's a heavy braking right-hander and one of the main overtaking spots. From there, it's a fast switch through turns 2 and 3 with gentle curves that flow smoothly. There's a long sweeping right turn up to turn 4 and then a left swoop into 5. Then things start to sharpen through turns 6 to 8. The cars turn left where the track narrows and the rhythm gets more intense. It's the tip of the alligator's snout. It's fast, it's a little twisty, and you've got to be tidy on traction.
So now sector 2, turn 9 to 16. Now you're charging into the top jaw section where the croc's nose stretches out and things get quick. Turns 9 to 11 are high-speed flicks, flat out as we enter the first DRS zone. Then you suddenly slam the brakes for turn 11, a tight left that kicks off a dramatic shift in pace. From turns 12 to 16, it's a technical, twisty sequence that winds around the back of the stadium. Tight corners, minimal grip, and almost no flow. This is where the drivers really struggle. It feels like threading a needle through the crocodile's neck. Awkward, but crucial.
So I know Lauren and I have been going back on crocodile and alligator, and I realized I should have corrected that. But it's
Oh
fine.
no.
We know the difference. Croc is just easier to say. So sector 3 is the bottom jaw, which is turns 17 to 19. Now we're back under the alligator slash croc's jaw. And this is the long second DRS zone. Turn 17 is another hard-braking overtaking zone turning left. It is one of the best chances to make a move late in the race. After that, you loop through turns 18 and 19, fast and wide but deceptively slippery, as the track curves back around to the start-finish straight. Get your line wrong here and that's it. The alligator snaps shut. Get it right and you're slingshotting into another lap with DRS wide open. So now with that visual, let me take you on a sensory hot lap. You're on the grid in Miami, the Florida sun starting to dip behind the Hard Rock Stadium. Lights go out and you launch forward. Barely any time before you're slamming the brakes into turn 1. It's tight. You muscle through the right-hander, flick it left at turn 2, and then right again at 3. The car flows, but you're still dancing on the edge. Now you sweep into turn 4, the track widening under you, then down into turn 5, a left swoop, smooth but loaded with tension. Turns 6 to 8 come at you fast. The grip tightens, the walls feel closer, and you're tiptoeing through the snout, trying not to snap sideways. You dive into that first DRS zone, flat out through turns 9 and 10, barely breathing, barely blinking. Then slam! Full brakes for turn 11. The rhythm's gone. It's all flicks and corrections now. 12 to 16 wind through the stadium, designed to mess with your confidence. There's no flow, just survival. Finally, freedom. You punch it into the second DRS zone, charging towards turn 17. Heavy left, tires protesting, and you're hunting that apex. Then a quick flick through turns 18 and 19, smooth but slick. You're on the edge. Nail the line here and you're flying back onto the straight. DRS open, back into the alligator's jaw. So Lauren, how do you feel? Are you excited about this race?
Oh, for sure. I can't wait for the Miami Grand Prix, and especially with the unpredictability of the season. I know it's too early to say who the world champion is going to be. So yeah, I'm definitely excited to watch the race. Yeah, and I just hope, if it's not Lewis Hamilton, then Oscar Piastri. I'd love to see him win.
Actually, I have another important question. Are you going to stay up to watch this race? Are you going to wake up early in the morning on Monday to watch it? Because it's in the middle of the night for people in India.
Yeah, good question. If I take a leave on Monday morning, it's because I'm definitely sick, okay? It's not because I'm watching a race or not. It's because I was really sick.
Yeah.
Or I had a planned doctor appointment, which I had
Right.
to go to. But I mean, it honestly depends on how qualifying goes, or how
True.
the practice session goes. So, if those practice sessions and the qualifying are super interesting, then I probably will fall sick on Monday morning. You just know, yeah. But if it's the same old, then I'll probably just watch it on Monday later on. I won't go onto Instagram or anything
Oh, that's
throughout the
going to
day.
be tough.
I'll know who the winner is, but okay, I won't it's not just who's the winner, right? It's the
That's
whole
true.
race that's
That is
exciting.
true.
So the rest I'll leave for Monday evening or something like that.
I like how you're pacing yourself on this. I have I can't stay awake, but I will wake up early in the morning at 6
Same.
o'clock and watch the race before coming into work.
Oh, yeah. I don't think I'll wake up too early also.
The Miami Grand Prix might be one of the newest races on the F1 calendar, but its journey to becoming a reality goes way back. F1 had sort of flirted with the idea of racing in Miami as early as the 1980s. And again in the late 2010s with a plan to race downtown near the waterfront in Port Marina. That fell through because there were too many logistical headaches, too much disruption. So they pivoted to the area around the Hard Rock Stadium. That's where the Miami Dolphins play. With the backing of the Miami Dolphins owner, Stephen Ross, and a stadium that could support this infrastructure, Miami finally got its race. The first GP was held in 2022, and just like that, Formula One arrived in South Florida.
There's a lot that makes this race unique. The circuit was designed after testing over 75 layout variations before settling on this one, combining high-speed straights with technical corners around the stadium. The 2022 race smashed viewership records in the US, pulling in over 2.6 million viewers. Having said that, though, the drivers weren't exactly in love with the track at 1st. In 2022, the surface was super slippery and got slammed as awful by a few drivers. But adjustments have been made since then, and each year it's getting better.
Now, we honestly cannot talk about Miami without mentioning the infamous fake marina. So, originally, when the race was supposed to be downtown, they wanted to show off real yachts and waterfront luxury. Basically, they were building the Monaco of the USA. But once the circuit moved to a stadium parking lot, the idea needed some creativity. So, what do? They built a fake marina with actual yachts placed on top of a painted vinyl made to look like water. It was mocked endlessly online. It became an instant meme. But of course, they just kept it. Because nothing says Miami like fake yacht marina in the middle of a Formula One track.
Now, you can't be like Monaco without celebrities, and they were everywhere.
Yep.
Michelle Obama, the Williams sisters, Bad Bunny, Pharrell, George Lucas. It's not just a race, it's a scene.
Yes.
I remember when Trump was in the McLaren garage last year. So was Camila Cabello in Ferrari. There are so many influencers there. It's everything that the petrol heads at Silverstone hate.
Yes,
The
absolutely.
absolute nightmare.
I know. And I remember, like, because Norris won that year and Trump was like, oh, it's because of me. And we're like, oh my God, okay, man. So this was the first race where they did those driver entries thing where like someone was announcing their names and then the drivers came out and waved to a crowd as they were cheerleaders. It was very typical American sports madness. And while it does annoy me that there are more celebrities there who don't deserve to be there, I don't mind it to an extent because they are the ones bringing in eyeballs to the sport, bringing in more money. And that can be a good thing if it means more races or more ways to attend a race. But I do agree that it becomes a little too star-studded.
I mean, I do love having like a lot of hype over something because then more people are watching the sport. That makes it more accessible to for the rest of us and all,
Yeah.
like, you know, whatever, because more advertising, blah, 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 blah. But what I absolutely don't like is, I mean, you did mention it a little bit. A lot of them don't deserve to be there. They're just there because, you know, they're themselves. But it's like the people who open their mouth and then start speaking nonsense. Like, you know, I remember when Kareena Kapoor Khan went to the Monaco Grand Prix because she was, she's a Puma brand ambassador.
Right.
And then she posts an Insta story for qualifying saying semi-finals are done. Excited for the finals tomorrow. And I was like, woman, at least, like, you know, just find out the right words. And
Oh, God.
like that's the least you can do. Nobody's even asking you to watch the race or whatever.
That's true.
Which is, yeah, it just bothered me so much, like, you know. And it's not even like, oh, poor thing, like, you know, she's Kareena Kapoor Khan. I mean, you have a whole
man.
team around you.
Exactly.
Like, just get them to do the work. Like, you know, it's not that hard.
Who are you trying to fool? Like, all of these people have social media, like a team to do their socials and a team
Yeah.
to do their PR. Someone will whisper in your ear, no? Even a Puma PR person can walk up to her and be
Exactly.
like, bro, this is qualifying. There is no such thing as semi-finals. But
Yeah.
yes. So now there have technically been only 3 races in Miami. So let's talk about the top moments in Miami Grand Prix. The very first Miami Grand Prix in 2022, Max Verstappen started third but wasted no time. He sent it down the inside of Carlos Sainz at turn 1, then reeled in Charles Leclerc and took the lead. It was a powerful strategic drive. Even with the safety car that neutralized the race and gave everyone a second wind, Max was able to stay on top of the race and cruise to a comfortable victory.
Then in 2023, we got one of Verstappen's most iconic comeback drives. He started all the way down in P9 after a red flag in qualifying, thanks to Leclerc's crash that ended Q3 early. Max didn't even get a chance to set a lap.
Yep.
But when the lights went out, he went full beast mode, classic Max. Lap after lap, he carved through the field with clinical precision. No drama, no errors, just cold, relentless pace. He took the lead and never looked back, adding to the legend of his Miami domination.
Then, of course, we reached 2024. So let's start with the big one. Lando Norris finally did it. After 110 race starts, countless near misses, and memes about being Lando no wins, he was officially a Grand Prix winner. It wasn't just luck. He was quick all weekend. He nailed the strategy when the safety car came out, and he held off Max Verstappen like a seasoned pro. You could hear the emotion in his voice post race. It was one of those feel good moments where even rival fans were cheering. Oscar Piastri, meanwhile, had a solid first stint but got shuffled down the order after contact with Sainz. Bit of a rough one for him.
Max Verstappen looked like he was on cruise control in the first half of the race. Took pole, led comfortably, and then bam, safety car. Lando got the jump in the pits, and Max just didn't have the grip to fight back. He didn't seem too fussed after though. He said he didn't really feel comfortable with the car all weekend. Sergio Perez had a bit of a nothing race, P5 at the flag, solid but not spectacular, and still a little off the pace when compared to Max.
This was a strong one for Charles Leclerc, though. He brought it home in P3, and while he couldn't challenge the top two, he looked confident and clean the whole way through. Carlos Sainz was in the mix as well, but made contact with Piastri, which earned him a 5-second penalty and then dropped him to P5. He wasn't very happy about it, and we heard this super emotional radio at the end of the race, but the stewards were pretty firm.
A weekend of what ifs. George Russell quietly picked up solid points in P6, but never really looked like a podium contender. Lewis Hamilton had a rougher time. He got hit with a 20-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane under the safety car. Classic Miami chaos. That dropped him out of the points. He said afterward he was confused by the call, but he didn't fight it too hard.
That's Lewis Hamilton, right? He's not the one who's like, oh, the FIA is against me. I will not say a single word in the press conference. Hint, hint, Max Verstappen. It was a strong showing for the Racing Bulls boys, or Visa Cash App Racing Bulls, or Alpha Tauri, whatever you want to call them. Yuki Tsunoda finished P7 and he looked racy all weekend. Solid, defending, confident overtakes, and just generally scrappy in the best way. Daniel Ricciardo finished just behind in P8. He was grabbing points when the chaos kicked off. This might have been the team's best race of the season so far.
Bit of a ghost weekend for Aston. Everyone's favorite rookie, Fernando Alonso, finished P9, scored a couple of points, but wasn't in the thick of the action like we're used to. Lance Stroll didn't make it out of Q1 and then couldn't recover in the race. Ended up outside the top 10.
Apparently, Lance Stroll is now he has a record for having the highest number of Q1 exits. My God.
Did you see his comment though? With the McLaren boys and a Haas, or what did he say? I think it was Haas.
Basically, he said that if he was in the fastest car, that would not happen. My brother, the fact that you're in this car only is big deal.
but this season he has a few points. So
you know, it's so funny. I honestly feel like he's done like a body swap with Fernando Alonso. What? Because
Yeah.
Alonso didn't even complete the first two races, and then he's
Yeah.
just been absolutely nowhere. I'm I'm scared. I'll
Yeah.
be
No,
honest.
but on the topic of Aston Martin, have you seen the rumors and how if Max were to leave Red Bull, like the only one place he would go to is Aston Martin because they have Adrian Newey, and like Toto Wolff is done searching for or trying to pursue Max Verstappen or even search for another driver apparently. And
Really?
as like Max doesn't seem like a guy who's motivated by money
He
as much,
doesn't.
but
Yeah. But
yeah,
Newey,
because
you're
he's
right.
yeah, like the way he like his full behavior is like proper F1, like driver kind of this. But yeah, I mean, Adrian Newey could be a big reason if he ever leaves Red Bull.
True. And also, he
Yeah,
doesn't have to worry about not being the number one driver. He obviously will be because who are they
yeah,
going to pick aside?
yeah,
Stroll? No.
yeah,
So
yeah, exactly.
that is true. But I don't know why, but I still feel like there's a chance for him to go to Mercedes because every time the regulations change, Mercedes just nails it, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So it just makes sense to bet on a winning horse. I mean, let's not talk about horses because apparently
yeah,
Ferrari are struggling with their
yeah,
2026 engine. Oh God, we haven't even started that year yet.
yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know. I would not be surprised to see Max in Mercedes and George
Mm-hmm.
maybe in the Aston Martin. They'll do
Could
like
be.
a
Yeah.
strange little driver swap. Or
Interesting.
George in the Red Bull. That could work too because apparently Christian Horner has been speaking to George's management, which is strange because
Oh,
I think George's management is Toto Wolff. So what is going on?
like let's do a driver swap, make the race interesting.
Could be,
Hmm.
could be. Although, I mean, they will obviously drop if Mercedes was getting Max, they will drop George. They're not going to drop Kimi, who's doing so well,
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh,
right?
he's been too good. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. But can you imagine Max and George in the same team? It wouldn't even be Hamilton Rosberg. It would just be like there would be no
destruction
lap
and
one.
destruction.
Exactly. They would destroy everyone. We would see no race. Like three
Yeah,
people will be left. So going back to 2024 Miami though, I think we're missing out on the last couple of teams. Haas, they started strong in the sprint earlier in the weekend, but it didn't quite carry over. Kevin Magnussen had a really messy race. He picked up multiple time penalties and he came under fire for some aggressive defending. Still, he finished ahead of Nico Hulkenberg, but both of them were out of the points.
yeah. And it was a tough home race for Logan Sargent. He crashed out and triggered the safety car that changed the whole race.
Yep.
Big heartbreak in front of the home crowd. Alex Albon tried to do something different on strategy, but the pace just wasn't there.
Williams is having a much better season now, like with Sainz, with James, and with Alex. I think like both the drivers are bonding. They're putting out a lot
Yeah,
more social, talking about how they're making the team work. Honestly,
yeah.
I didn't think that I would be one to root for Williams, but they are doing a really good PR job.
Yeah, and like I feel like this is probably one of the times that Alex Albon has someone who can compete with him, so that
Yes,
pushes him also to do better.
that's true.
And I mean, who doesn't love James Vowles? Like, what an amazing team principal.
Another forgettable race for Alpine, Miami 2024. Esteban Ocon and Pierre Gasly were nowhere near the points and they just kind of ran their own race. It had been a rough season so far, and Miami did not help to change that for them. So let's talk a little bit about what goes into preparing for a race like Miami because this one is tricky. The track is part street circuit, part parking lot puzzle, and it throws up a lot of setup headaches for the engineers. First is the car setup. Miami is all about compromise. You've got these long straights where teams want the low drag and maximum speed, lots and lots of downforce, especially when you're heading down into turn 17. But also, it's a super technical section around the stadium. That's around turns 11 to 16. That needs a lot of grip. And the surface, it's bumpy, like really bumpy, especially through that stadium section. That means the teams have to soften the suspension a bit so that the car doesn't skip over the asphalt and lose traction. It's one of those circuits where ride height, suspension tuning, and tire all matter just as much as raw power.
And now the weather. Don't even get me started about the weather. It's Miami in May. It's so
Yes.
hot, humid, and unpredictable. Even if it's cloudy, and it often is, the humidity is brutal. It
Yep.
hangs in the air, makes cooling a challenge for both the cars and the drivers. In 2024, humidity was close to 90% across the weekend. I mean, I would not survive. I don't know
Yeah.
how they did, which means teams had to watch tire temps and driver stamina. There's also the looming threat of a sudden downpour because Florida weather does what it wants. It doesn't rain often during the race, but teams are always prepping just in case, putting their hand out just
Yeah.
to check.
All the amazing technical thing, $1 billion investments. But the best way to see for rain, stick your hand out.
Yeah, and the best way to fix your cars is put the tape,
The duct tape. Oh my god.
duct tape.
I don't remember
Yeah.
which race it was. Yuki Tsunoda's DRS basically like was not working anymore, and they brought him in, and he thought like, oh, are you guys gonna fix it? And they were like, no, we're just putting tape on this. You please go.
Yeah. I mean, why
And
waste money when you have duct tape?
yeah, yeah, okay. No DRS. We have duct tape. Close everything and go. And then there's the strategy. On paper, Miami's usually a one-stop race. Start on the mediums, switch to hards, and try to hold position. But that is if everything goes to plan. And let's be honest, the race never goes to plan. And like the new set of tires that we have now and the cars that we currently have, the degradation seems to be very, very less. Even though in Jeddah they went one step lower, right? Instead of the C1s, they went for the C2, something like that. They had switched that over. Even then, the tires did not degrade, which meant that the cars could just keep going. I think it was Ocon who did like close to 45 laps on the hards. And then he switched
Oh,
over for just those last few laps, which is like,
oh wow.
okay, if these tires don't, die and fall off, no one is going to come in and do the pit stop.
Yeah.
So you never know what's going to happen. In 2024, Lando Norris won the race because he was nailing a perfectly timed pit stop under the safety car when Logan Sargent crashed and the field was bunched up, and McLaren decided to take that risk. It paid off big time. Teams know that safety cars are likely here, so everyone builds that flexibility into their plans. So, what should you be watching out for in Miami 2025? Honestly, everything. This race has the energy of a street party, a strategic chess match, and a demolition derby all rolled into one. Let's start with the cars. Qualifying is going to be a mess. Miami's layout might have 3 DRS zones and big straights, but the corners are tight and visibility is low and traffic builds up fast. Watch out for drivers struggling to find clean air, especially in Q1, and don't be surprised if a big name gets knocked out early. The teams will be playing the tire temperature games all session, cooling down on the straights, warming up on the corners, all the while dodging slower cars.
Yeah, and McLaren come in as the favorites, and for good reason. The car has looked quick in both low drag and twisty sections, and the vibes in that garage are sky high. But Red Bull are not here to chill. They're bringing their second aero upgrade of the season, and if Max feels dialed in, he could dominate the straights. And then there's Mercedes, just waiting in the wings. No major upgrades here yet, and historically, they don't do well in hot temperatures. But George Russell, Mr. Consistency, has been driving like a man possessed. If chaos hits, he could swoop in for a podium.
I would not be surprised. He has been sneakily making his way into the podium every race, and every single time it's completely under the radar because we're all looking at so many different parts of the race, and then when the podium happens, we're like, what is George doing? Did he come P3?
Yeah.
What is
Yeah.
this?
He's just always there and then capitalizes on it. That's like
Yes.
something to admire. Like he just is doing the right things, I
Yeah.
guess.
Also, props to him. He's become like a real leader for Mercedes. He's like taking the right calls, giving good feedback, and I feel like it's really working for him. He's doing well, and it's also helping Kimi. They're also like they seem to be pulling each other forward, which is
Yeah.
wow, it sets Mercedes up very well for 2026.
Yeah.
But speaking of chaos for Miami, safety cars are almost guaranteed. We've had incidents every year, from Sargent's crash to Norris and Gasly's tangle. With with Miami's awkward corners and low grip, there's always the potential for someone to end up in the barriers. So expect strategy swings and teams gambling on pit windows the moment a yellow flag drops. For our jargon section, I thought we could talk about the coolest pieces of choreography in Formula One, the pit stop. It's not just a tire change, it's a full blown team performance that lasts less than 3 seconds and can completely change the outcome of a race. There are at least 20 individuals involved in this. And here's how it works: as a driver barrels into the pit lane and lines up perfectly on those marks, the front and rear jack operators are already in place. The second the car stops, they lift it off the ground in one clean motion. The person in front usually has the most dangerous role, especially if the car doesn't stop in the right place or takes off too early.
Then you've got the four-wheel gun operators, one on each tire, ready to loosen the wheel nuts with high-powered guns, while the tire carriers whip off the old tires and slap on the new ones. Four off, four on, in perfect sync. These guys need to be absolutely on mark. Get that wheel gun placed perfectly, otherwise you have 52-second pit stops, as you had mentioned in your Bahrain episode.
The people working in tandem with the wheel gun operators are the tire carriers, 8 of them, 4 to remove and 4 to fit the new tires. You'll also see 2 stabilizers on each side of the car, keeping it rock steady while all this action is happening. If the team needs to tweak the car's aero balance, there's a pair of front wing adjusters who will dive in and make a quick change to the angle of the wing. These are the people who change the nose when there's a crash on track. In fact, in Jeddah during qualifying, they were present on Max's Red Bull after he complained about the nose while he was on track.
And then comes the release, traditionally a lollipop man, now a traffic light system that gives the go-ahead when every job is done and the pit lane is clear. One wrong call and the car could get stuck, or worse, released into the path of another, as Max and Yuki saw in Bahrain. These can malfunction as well thanks to electrical gremlins, which can ruin a race strategy.
Hovering nearby, just in case, a fire extinguisher operator and a starter motor crew who's ready to jump in if anything goes wrong. Because in this world, a tiny delay can cost you positions, points, even podiums. It's fast, it's intense, and when it goes perfectly, it's kind of beautiful.
Yeah, like if you see Ferrari this season, they've nailed all their pit stops.
They
Like
have.
all 5 races, they have like the fastest pit stop. They have at least something going on for them. Like, it's sad. It's sad that I'm so excited
I
about
know.
like a pit stop now. But okay,
I
they've got at
think
least something right.
last year in Miami is when they had the 1.9 pit stop Ferrari for Charles. So I'm hoping for some good things for that. Did you hear that
Yeah.
one comment of so basically someone asked Lewis Hamilton what he would need to get adjusted to this car and drive better, and he said a brain transplant.
Oh my God.
I
I
know.
missed that. Oh my God, that's just sad.
I
That's
was
sad.
so upset. I was like, oh my God, what is this? I mean, I don't know. Is it that he is older now? He's not able to make those quick adjustments and learn the car? Or, or maybe he's not giving enough feedback to the drivers or, feedback to the engineers. I remember when he was in Mercedes, he used to do this weird thing where like he would nail a particular session or qualifying, and then he would tinker with the car, and then like with the setup or whatever, and then the race he would just be nowhere. Apparently, he's still doing that in Ferrari, and the greatest example was in China. He won the
Yeah.
sprint race, and then he was
But
nowhere.
nowhere.
It's like,
Yeah.
how is this the same car and the same driver? Clearly, somebody did something in between.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I don't know, man. I feel like we all started off with so much hopes for
Yeah.
Lewis, and we're slowly,
know.
all of us are in that cycle
Yeah.
of, oh God.
But like I feel like I mean I'm sure with age he is not like what he used to be.
Yeah.
we've seen it like multiple times. Give him like when the things are right,
True.
when he feels one with the car and all. We've seen him win two races last year. We've
Right.
seen him do the Vegas chase as well, where he ended up on the podium. This year, even like in qualifying, he sprint qualifying when he
Yeah.
came first, and then like even when he won that sprint.
Right.
Um, like I feel like he still has it in him, but
He needs
I feel like
motivation.
yeah, that's missing.
I think
Yeah,
so too. I think even the times that he won last year, there was some insane motivation pushing him forward to go and win.
yeah,
And
yeah,
like, I mean, Silverstone, obviously, he wanted to win that. So it made sense. Also, last year in one of the races, when he was complaining about the tire, and
yeah,
then Mercedes was like, no, you can't come in. You have to keep racing. And he was like, oh no, guys, I can't do anything. And then Mercedes was like, fine, then come in if you suck so much. And he was like, oh, no, now I'm not coming.
yeah,
And then he went on to get points. And I was
yeah,
like, so he needs some kind of motivation. Someone in
yeah,
Ferrari just go and tell him, I don't think you're good
yeah,
enough, bro. Then we'll see.
yeah. And have you seen like the whole joke in how he's like I'm here to get my eighth, and then people are like he
Yeah, oh
meant
my god.
eighth world championship, not the eighth place in the
Yeah,
drivers championship. Please, guys, fix this.
I, I saw that. I
Yeah.
felt so bad.
Yikes. Yeah. I think the only thing keeping me going right now is because Oscar's doing well. And like, I mean, I always thought like once Lewis goes, Charles would be my next favorite driver. But for some reason, I think it'll be Oscar Piastri.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so too. I think so too. But
Yeah.
also, just to add some hope here, Ferrari usually brings their upgrades and everything to the second half of the season.
Yeah.
Basically, they wait till Imola to make some
Yeah.
change.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if, like, second half of the season, suddenly Lewis is driving a completely different car, right?
Yeah.
And he's
Yeah.
on the podium,
And
hopefully.
have you seen the stat wherein it said the last time a McLaren driver was leading the first five races of the leading the championship after the first five races, a Ferrari driver went on to win the WDC.
Oh, you know what? I
If
found
I if I if I see it, I'll send it to you.
there is
It's
this.
delusion at this point. That's the
Of
only
course,
thing.
of course. But to fuel that delusion, actually
Yeah.
not that delusion, another specific delusion. So 2005, this one is it's not gonna happen. But 2005, McLaren was leading the championship. You had a seven-time world champion in Ferrari. Last time it was in 2005. It was Schumacher. Now it's Hamilton. The Pope passed away, which also happened.
No way.
And the winner was Fernando Alonso. So I'm
Yeah.
really hoping.
Where are my candles? Need to start manifesting now only.
Yeah,
Yeah, history repeats itself. Like, yeah,
exactly. So if that's true, we're gonna see Fernando Alonso WDC
Yeah.
2025.
Oh my god.
That would be some comeback drive
Yeah,
if
yeah.
that's true. But that is a wrap from us on the Miami Grand Prix. But before we sign off, I need to hear from Lauren. What is your boldest prediction for the 2025 season?
I think we've just discussed it, like Lewis Hamilton WDC. My god, I think that's a very bold prediction.
It
Yeah.
really is.
Yeah. I feel like George Russell being WDC. I feel like.
Really?
Yeah, have you seen that one MotoGP stat? But apparently, the guy who won last year, last year's MotoGP, won only like one or two races that season. The only
Oh.
reason he won the whole championship at the end of the season was because of consistency. And
Ah.
I feel like there's no, like, if there's one person on the grid who's consistent and, like, could possibly
True.
get it is, it could be George Russell because, like, let the rest of them eat off each other's points. And George Russell just consistently being there, getting the job done and all. WDC,
That's
who knows?
true. That is true.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one. I don't think anyone so far in 10 episodes has ever spoken about George.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe.
Nice.
Who knows? Bold prediction. I'm
Yeah,
given
that
two
is true.
very wild
Bold.
ones. Yeah.
You never know. We'll see. If you were like, we'll see, right? At the end of close to the year, if this one turns out to be true, you were the original Nostradamus.
Yeah.
But yes, we will be off next week as well, because after that, we will be preparing for the next triple header. So watch out for that. To our amazing listeners, what do you think? Drop your hot takes in the comments, send us a message, or tag us in your wildest predictions. Don't forget to follow, subscribe, and share F101 with friends, because this community is just getting started. If you have any queries or you want to be a friend on the pod, please reach out to me on Instagram. Link is in the description. Special shout out to Ashwati and Kevin, who support my podcast and my mental health. Thank you, Lauren, and I've been your host, Nisha, and I'll see you on the next episode of F101 with Friends.